Sippers, welcome to this episode of the Tea With Me podcast with me, Shane Todd. If you're watching the video version of this podcast, you're going to notice a couple of things. Number one, I'm sitting in front of a green screen that I got out from the roof space so that I could do virtual backgrounds on Zoom. And if you're watching the video version of the podcast, I still haven't, I wouldn't say I've cracked the virtual background, but check this out. Woo! So, yeah, that's one thing. The other thing is you may also, you're going to notice a couple other things. One is you're going to notice still very, very cute. I'm still cute. The hair's looking good. It's looking healthy, radiant. I've got like one giant curtain and that's fine. And the reason everything's fine is because I've had a baby. I have had a little baby. I mean, I say I have. I think it's fair to say my wife played as big a part, if not a bigger part than me. You know, for the baby being born, a lot of what I did is just say, is everything okay? Is everything okay? And yeah, this is going to be a shorter podcast, if that's okay, because, you know, the money toad, he was thinking about hiring like a team of nannies, but he decided that the best thing to do would be just do the podcast. Okay, so we're taking, yeah, I mean, people won't expect this of me. We're taking care of the baby ourselves. And I'm actually doing stuff, but I'm talking with like a whispered voice. So it's going to be a shorter podcast. You might have to turn the volume up because I've been speaking like this for the past week because I don't want to wake the baby. And then a lot of people have pointed out to me, which is totally fair. Hey man, if you keep whispering, then anytime you take him somewhere when he's older and people talk at, I don't know, normal volume, he's gonna have a fucking heart attack. So I'm gonna try and talk at normal speed, but also I've got the phone on standby as well, just in case. Because I'll tell you a little bit about my baby, just a little bit, but one thing I'm gonna tell you is he's a big boy. He is a big boy, and he was a big boy when he was born, to the point where he was more than 9 pounds. In fact, he's more than 9.5. Let's just leave it at that. He he is that big that and when I talk about the baby and all that kind of stuff, and that's kind of what this episode is going to be. I'll just share with you a little bit about my last week. Not my last week, as in like after this week I'm just done. I mean the week that has just passed. We had a water birth, which was beautiful, like really, really good. There was a nice tranquil environment. I was playing bagpipes. Also, from now on the podcast, I do laugh at my own jokes, and I'm going to be doing it even more because I'm a lame dad guy, and I just laugh at things. That's just the way it is. I just laugh at things that aren't that funny because that's what dads do. And a lot of the time, I wear a fleece and just stand with my hands on my hips and go, "Boys a dear." So that's something we're going to have to deal with. But yeah, it was a nice atmosphere for the water birth. I was playing pan pipes, creating a really nice environment. And I'm speaking low at the minute, as I say, and I'm very aware. I'm trying not to do that, but I'm aware it sounds like an ASMR podcast where people speak like this. And ASMR is not to be confused with BDSM, which is what I told someone that I don't know that well once, that I had been looking at ASMR videos to find out what it was. And I said to them, I just been watching a load of BDSM videos. And then the person was like, okay. And I thought, I know ASMR is weird and I find it weird. And that's why I was watching the videos to see if it was weird. And I thought it was weird. But then they thought I was watching BDSM. And that's very aggressive. BDSM is aggressive, and it's aggressive for me to have said that. But here's the point. It was a tranquil environment. It was nice. The baby was born in water. I did not know up until really that it happened that really was the thing. The whole time I was like, is what our water burst real? Like, what are we doing here? How does it work? You know? But it was lovely. And it was really, really good. And I got to be there for it because your boy was like, that the monitor was going to be pulling some strings somehow. He was talking about, doing a medical degree to try and get in the hospital for longer. But luckily I was, of course, able to be there for the birth, which was great because of coronavirus. The dads are basically being told like, hey, go and live in your car, which is very, very sly. But the I'll get on the hospital staff and stuff in a second because everyone has caught up in this whole, rightfully so, this whole like how amazing are the NHS. The idea, I never really thought about like the idea of someone being, by the way, this is all going to be rambly, this podcast, the idea of someone being a midwife before, like like you literally like give people their babies every single day, probably sometimes more than once a day, 2 times a day, I don't know how much. Just the best people ever. But I want to try and stay on point. We had a water birth. There were 2 midwives with us who were absolutely brilliant, and the environment was nice. I had a little flask of tea, genuinely, and I was like, is your boy still able to drink tea during it? Because I'm focused, but I'm also like, I've got a little bit of a thirst on, so I was able to have quite a lot of my tea, which really made me happy. Also, for some reason, I brought 442 Football Magazine, thinking that during a labour, there would be a good point just to, read a little bit about Brazil's 1998 World Cup squad, which is quintessential me. Quintessential me. My wife's having contractions. She's just like, she's really trying to focus and stuff. And she's like, where are you? I need your help. And I'm like, listen, they are doing an exclusive interview with Festino Spray here. So I didn't get to read my magazine, but I'm not upset about that because we just had the best time. But it was a big baby and he came out of the water. And I never thought about that before, the idea that the baby actually comes out of the water. Well, gets helped out of the water. Let me just say this. And I'm not going to go into details, and from now on, even in this podcast, when I talk about the baby and stuff, just give a wee bit of chat here and there. But I think, and this is a real wanky thing to say, but everything is like social media. Everything lives on social media. I totally get when people put pictures of their babies up and videos every day, all that kind of stuff. I love it and I love to see it. But there's just something where I'm like, he hasn't, he hasn't said to us, listen, give me a real Instagram presence. So until he says, and it's going to happen someday, he's going to go, Papa, I'm ready to be a star. And I'll go, yes, my boy. And I'll smoke a big cigar. And then me and him will tour. I don't know what we'll do. Maybe stand up. I don't know what'll happen. But fuck, this is rambly. Listen, what I'm saying is, he was that big when he came out of the water, out of the bath, because it is a big giant bath where the woman gives birth. And when he was brought out of the water, I thought there was a chance that a porter that worked in the hospital had been doing a few lengths before we got into the pool, and then they'd just forgotten to take him out, because it was a baby that came out, but also at the same time, I thought it might have been a 24-year-old guy, because when he came out of the water, I'm not saying he's big, but when he came out of the water, his first words straight away were just, "What's happening?" He was the biggest guy. He came out, got me in a headlock, and went, "What's happening, Daddy?" He's a big boy, and I like to see it. I like to see it, and it was just so surreal. The whole thing was just so surreal. Um, Probably the maddest thing about it is the idea of like love. And by the way, if at any point I cry in this podcast is a safe space, so you never get to make fun of me because of it, because it's a comedy podcast, and you'll go up to me and you'll be like, "Oh, there he is, the Gurner," or something. I don't know what you'll call me, but just don't be sly. I'm going to try and make this point, and then I'm going to wrap up the baby talk, and we're going to get into the podcast, because I've gotten till, I don't know when you usually listen to this, but I've really given myself to 1 o'clock before I've got to go back downstairs, and I'm a man on edge for absolutely no reason, because he's the best baby boy in the world. Anyway, what I'll say is this: the idea of love at first sight, uh, I love the idea of it, but I don't believe in it, like between partners. Like you see like an attractive girl or guy when you're an adult, and you're like, oh, I just fell in love with them straight away. I don't believe that. I think you can have obviously an instant attraction and a real strong attraction straight away, but like to be in love straight away, I don't really think that's true. But it's different with a baby, because whenever you see the baby for the first time, you the fuck, it's just that it's that moment where straight away you're like, I would do anything for you. You know, it's such a surreal moment. And I am a crier, right? Just in general. Well, if something's like emotional, especially involving like family or my wife or anything, like sentiment, I love like things, right? Like nice moments and stuff like that. Like finding out we were pregnant, all that kind of thing. My eyes streamed. Going to scans, big crier. So I thought, like, whenever I'm handed this baby, even though he's just out of the bath, he's going to be in another bath of my tears. And Bath of My Tears, by the way, was the name of the emo band I was in at university. And we supported My Chemical Romance and fucking Kitty Dailies. I don't know. I'm trying to move on from the point because I don't want to cry. But listen, that moment was just mad, and I didn't really cry at the start because I was in like protector mode. He was great. Like, he came out, he was loving it. You know, he's a big boy, so he basically stood up, had a stretch, and he took my 442 magazine, started looking at boots at the back of it. He's like, "They're nice boots, are they Predators?" And that moment was just, oh, nothing will ever put it into words, and that's why I don't want to spend too long talking about it in the podcast. But hopefully everyone, you know, when you listen to this podcast, it's silly nonsense, is all that kind of thing. Wanted to share a little bit of what I've been at and the birth and stuff like that. But a lot of it will just be between the family, you know, because I think it's just lovely to have that ourselves. You know, it's a private thing. It's a very, very personal thing, I think, having a baby for us anyway. So so I'm really happy to be back doing the podcast because I miss doing this. And no, there you go. That's a lie. I didn't miss doing this at all, and I really had to psych myself up to come up and record this because I didn't want to be away from the baby. But he's a week old today that I recorded this, and I'm just having the best time. I'm having the best time, but at the same time, as much as I'd love to just live in this world 24/7 where I just kind of wear pants around the house, which is what I do really all day. And then one day the health visitor called and I answered the door and I had a baby in my arms and I was like, "Hello, I'm not wearing any really clothes." And she went, "Is your wife in?" And I said, "Yep." And then she came in and she's like, "All right, it's good that you're wearing boxers because I thought you meant you weren't wearing any clothes." And I was like, I don't know why I would have answered the door in that case. Like, how desperate would I have been to get an Amazon package? I don't know. But but yeah, you know, your boy is sort of, he's working from home. He's doing the podcast up here. He is going to be back in the studio pretty soon, I would say. You know, we'll do like a soft opening. That's what we'll call it. We'll go back a day here and there, and then we'll try and get back to some sort of new normality. Let me take a sip of tea, by the way, because all I've been drinking is tea. But it's a great time. Also, what's difficult for me is I love sleep. I love sleep. And oh fuck, I forgot to tell you guys this. Wait, now I do not want to be called a hero. Let me make that clear before I say this. The day our baby came, I started to get a toothache, a really bad toothache. And in the delivery suite and taking him home, it was the best time of my life, but also I had a real bad toothache. And it was really sore, really sensitive. I'm a sensitive guy and I had a sensitive tooth. And at one point, the midwife came in about an hour after the baby was born just to check everything was okay. And she said, "Is he all right?" And I thought she was talking about me. And I went to say, "Yeah, it's still a wee bit sore." And then I realized chances are she's talking about the newborn baby. So I soldiered on. But then your boy got himself sorted tooth-wise 2 days after the baby was home. I went down to Lurgan just for the crack. No, I didn't. I went down to Lurgan because my man Michael, I sent out the bat signal and I said, "Listen, my tooth is knackered. It's had a bad time here. I need help. I need help." And I shone the bat symbol into the sky. And my man Michael answered it. Church Place Dental. Church Place Dental. If you, and listen, they're not even a sponsor, but it's a major part of my week. Michael at Church Place Dental is my hero because he sorted your boy's tooth and sent him on his way. And they are, listen, if you have teeth, speak to Church Place Dental in Lurgan, and that's their new slogan. Couldn't have been happier. I was in Lurgan, so I was edgy. You know, I was a little bit on edge. I was like, are people going to try and steal my shoes or whatever? No, stop thinking like that, because Lurgan actually is a great place. I mean, I would say great place. It's a fine place, but it's better because it has Church Place Dental in it. And they took care of me, and that's where you got to go. And I don't know if I can say Michael's surname, but then again, I'm thinking I don't know why you couldn't. And he's called Michael O'Neill, and I enjoy that because that is the name of the former Northern Ireland manager, but he is not the former Northern Ireland manager. So it's been a good time, apart from my root canal. But I'm just saying, I got through it, guys, with a bad tooth. And my tooth's really good now. So there you go. Before we move on, I want to thank I don't know why I'm doing an acceptance speech from baby here. Just want to thank everyone. I want to thank the director. I want to thank I was talking about midwives and hospital stuff. Oh, by the way, that was my arm, that wasn't my bottom. Hospital staff and nurses and doctors and everybody like that at the Ulster, and I'm sure it's the same everywhere. Just all heroes. Just made it the best time for us, and it's the fact that those people, like, I'm saying midwives here, but all like healthcare professionals and all that kind of thing. I'm saying about, like, I genuinely want a pat on the back because I had to get a root canal with a newborn baby. They give you babies. You know what I mean? Like, they deliver babies. They make that happen and are just the loveliest people at the same time. And then it's just like, bit of a sleep again, back tomorrow. Always having to, genuinely fight for pay raises and all that kind of thing. Why? Why are they having to do that? They are genuine heroes. And yeah, I could go on and talk about them for a long time, but I'm going to finish talking about my baby by saying this. It's been a great week. And I want to thank all the sippers for, we banked a couple of podcasts. We recorded a couple beforehand with like Rory Woods and Mark McCartney and sort of dripped those out. So thanks a million to everyone who's still been listening to the podcast. And, I've still been checking my social media, but not doing 10% as much as I was doing for this week. But, I was 50-50 about putting a picture on Instagram, just put like a kind of hidden enough picture, you know what I mean? It wasn't like, here's my baby's face. It's just a nice wee moment. I thought I'll put this up because I do like sharing some stuff from my life, personal life, but it's just little bits. I think that's what we all like to do, just little bits. And this, basically, I put a picture up on Instagram, and a little bit pissed off because I've been putting Keith Cruz videos up the whole week up to that, and this got like 10 times more likes than any of the Keith Cruz videos. Picture of me on my baby. So that's disrespectful. But at the same time, I'm joking, but I'm not. But at the same time, just all the lovely comments and messages that I got from a lot of sippers as well, just saying congratulations, hope everything's well. That means a lot, and I had a real good time reading through those. And thanks again, appreciate it. So we are going to just have a bit of fun on the pod because that's what I've been wanting to do. But before we move on, let me plug the Patreon, patreon.com/teawithmepodcast. And thanks very much to everyone on the Patreon, because we haven't done the bonus episode in the last week or two, but we are getting back to that this week. Me and producer Dan doing those episodes. So thanks to all the new Patreons, and thanks to everyone who's bared with us. We have put out I'll get to that in a second, but patreon.com/teawithmepodcast, you get the bonus episode and so much more stuff. My special from the Waterfront Hall is on there from last year, the whole concert, which you can watch exclusively on Patreon. And down the line, it'll be on YouTube and all that, but for a good while, It's just for the sippers on Patreon. So I have to give a quick shout out to everyone on the Patreon, which is, and I'll just run through these people really fast because they are the sippers that support the podcast and make it all happen. And it's always appreciated. Thank you very much to, drumroll please, Ryan, Paddy, be awesome. Okay, Thomas, Gigi, William, Harry, Hinai, Aaron, Lauren, Kevin, Ryan, Declan, Andrew, Jordan, Tasha, James, Jordan, Oliver, John, Reese, Lauren, Haley, Phelim, Joanna, Rory, Phelim, yes I can, Ryan, Patrick, Vincy, that's such a dad joke, Martin, Nikki, James, Daniel, Owen, Gary, Connor, Emma, Patrick, Andrew, Christina, Connor, Katrina, Ruth, Arma, Apples, Tommy, his real name, which is Mad, Chloe, Dave, Carol, Kieran, Sarah, Lisa. We only have one more page of these guys, but I'm running out of breath. But it's been good so far. And if I don't make it through all this because I faint and then I forget to cut that bit out of the video podcast, send me a message and let me know and say, man, there's a bit where you fainted during this. I think it'd be better if you got it out. Jillian, Donna, Peggy, Ashley, Paul, Noel, Brian, Shane, Joan, Johnny, Reese, Adam, Emma, Aaron, Terry, Matthew, Andy, Karis, Orla, Matthew, Peter, Julie, Rebus, Aaron, Niall, and Wormball. So to everyone that's on the Patreon, I appreciate you all and just appreciate everyone who listens to this podcast. We have merch, we have merchandise, and I want to, let me see. Oh yeah, so producer Dan basically has been holding the fort. I say holding the fort. If anyone's seen the Free Britney campaign, free Shane, because listen, this guy has not let me take any time really for myself and my baby and my wife. Dan was in the delivery suite with us and they said, Shane, would you like to cut the cord? And he said no, he's got to do a read for Manscaped. You know, he is a slave driver and he controls me and my money, and this is my appeal that we need to get me my freedom back. Okay, Donald Trump. So we have merch, and I will post it all up. But we have Sipper t-shirts, we've got Money Toad t-shirts, we've got mugs and all that kind of thing. I think all the Keith Cruz stuff is genuinely sold out, which is really brilliant. So cheers to everyone who bought a Keith Cruz Summer Soccer School t-shirt. They should be getting shipped in the next week, I think. So yeah, cheers. We sold way more of those than I thought we were going to. And that was great too, to sort of get that text whenever I had the little baby in my arms. I was like, oh yeah, people showing love for the cruisy. I'm looking at Dan's email who says, yeah, tell him about the merch. Yes, I've done that, Dan, for God's sake. Also, for certain tier Patreons, we are doing the first raffle for one bit of free merch on this week's Patreon podcast. So that's another reason to join the Patreon. You get a chance to be in. You get a chance to be in with a chance. Fuck off, Shane. There is a chance to get some free merch as well. So there you go. The only other read that I have to do is our sponsor, but I'm not going to do that yet because I want to get into the listeners' questions. But what I probably will do, and look, guys, a lot of you are going, man, yes, it is a bit rambly. We're going to give you a little bit of grace because you just had a baby, you know. But at the same time, why have you not brought the proper camera out to do this? I could have, but at the same time, I've just decided to film it on Zoom, and that is a little bit lazy. But hey, that's just me at the minute. I'm just a lazy dad guy for a little while, but I'll be back to it in no time. So, in fact, fuck it. We'll just do Manscaped really quickly. Guys, forgive me. I know I am being a rambler. I'm a rambler. I'm a midnight gambler. I don't know what else. But we have a big sponsor, and we're really grateful to have a sponsor. It's class that we do. It's the Lawnmower 3.0 from Manscaped. Now, they have some stuff here. They're like, listen, tell the listeners about this. First and foremost, I'm just going to get to it because I'm a dad who just gets to the point. What's happening with your pubes? What's happening? Let's not be afraid to use this taboo word. What's happening with your pubic hair? Could your pubic hair look better? Yes. This isn't in what I have to, mention for the read through the producer Dan sends me, but 97% of guys in Northern Ireland have crazy pubes. Big bushes. I don't want to see that. I don't want to see anyone's pubes. Apart from I don't even really want to see my own. Well, I do now because I use Manscaped. But what I'm saying is Manscaped have this razor. It's an electric trimmer and it's called the Lawnmower 3.0. It is the best in below the belt men's grooming. They offer precision engineered tools for your family jewels. Essentially, they've just developed the perfect ball trimmer. That's the way it is. Me and producer Dan have used this. We have seen firsthand the benefits of it on the other person, and I can't recommend it enough. You basically can go to manscaped.com, use the code TWithMe. You get 20% off and free shipping. We genuinely use this. They sent us all the gear out. It's incredible, and I've never used like a trimmer before. I always just use scissors, like Edward Scissorhands. I always use scissors, give myself like the David Beckham mohawk, all different looks. Listen, this thing takes 1 minute to give you a real smooth look, and also you can use it in the shower, and also there's a wee torch on it. Let me repeat that, there's a wee torch on it. If you're a Chilean miner who's still below ground but still wants to look good below the belt. So that's manscaped.com, and use the code TWithMe if you want your pubes looking really sweet. So back to the pod. And it's time for listeners' questions. Time to get back in touch with the sippers. I haven't had a text from downstairs yet to say, like, listen, need you here. So I'm going to enjoy a couple of minutes time when I'm not like all over the place, even though I'm 100% all over the place. So let's see what the sippers are asking here. Emma says, when's a baby due? And what are you most looking forward to about becoming a dad? Basically, no, it's not. No, I don't think we should impose religion, really. So Jewish is an option for the baby to be a Jew if it would like to be a Jew. If one day it says, mum, dad, really psyched about Judaism here. Judaism, easy for you to say. I tried to make a joke out of that. Essentially, the baby has been born. He has already been born. What am I most looking forward to about becoming a dad? I was just looking forward to, I don't know, cuddles. Just doing some cuddles, and that is the thing that I've enjoyed the most. Jim McGuire says, although a true all-rounder, what would you say is Big Decky Donnelly's best position? Hashtag Twinbrook Tarantula's legend. Hashtag Big Decky's up. Yes, a Keith Cruz creation, Big Decky Donnelly. Decky Donnelly sounds like a guy who played right back, but everyone tells him to go and play centre back because he's too fat and slow. But he's like, nah, I'll play right back because he likes to get up and down. But he only does that for 4 minutes of a game, and then he gets subbed off because he says his hamstring's gone, but he's actually just knackered. The Fantasia, which is an absolutely phenomenal name. And I think these guys are a band, which is sweet to be a band. What's your plans post-lockdown? Hey, vague. Very vague question. But post-lockdown, my plans are get back to stand-up, start making money again, which would be fucking ideal, really. Start making money. Too needs to keep making that cash. Just getting back to work would be good. Everyone being good in the house, getting a wee routine going, and yeah, just getting like back to the studio to do podcasts. And I'm missing stand-up so bad. I've seen little bits and pieces of people like slowly getting back into it, and Jesus, like you can see, this room is like a little bit of a mess, and it's my fault. But there's my microphone, lead, and stand that I borrowed to practice doing stand-up. So that's the level of willingness I have to get back at stand-up. Gary Fletcher, Papa Shane, congrats on the baby boy. A man of your wealth has no worries about this, but you're gifted 100 grand. What are you doing with it, bro? Thanks very much, Gary Taylor. And Gary Taylor leaves out Fletcher. His real name's Gary Taylor Fletcher, and he used to play for Blackpool. That's very niche, but 6 people will get it, and I'm 3 of them. If I was gifted 100 grand, I don't know what brand would just be like, hey, listen, we're keen to send you some product. And I go, what company is it? And they go, Ulster Bank. And I go, oh, what are you sending me? Just some of our money. That'd be really cool. And I've done video work for them before, so technically that has happened, but tea's kind of cold. What would I do if someone just sent me 100 grand? I would probably buy see, I don't know, because that's how much I would spend on like luxury travel to local gigs. Like if I'm going down Puggleglies or Lavery's, you guys know I'll get a fleet of Phantoms to take me down. So I'll probably just need to earn that money back. 100 grand, I genuinely don't know. Like before I had a baby, I probably would have spent it on like bouncy castles, hair product, what else? You know, like a lot of novelty stuff. And now that now that I'm a dad, I'll probably put it in some sort of savings account because that's what I'm all about. Shh, ISAs. I don't understand money, but listen, ISAs, building societies, mutual benefits. That's what I would do with it, man. I hope that was helpful. Dempster, very Northern Irish name. Just call someone Dempster. He says, thanks. He says, congratulations, Money Toad, on the birth of your child. Hope he is well. He is. Thank you very much. My question is, when will the young Money Toad be introduced to the tea, or has he been sipping it already? I would imagine it would be cruel to give the child boiling hot tea, but surely sneaking a tea bag into the warm milk may be the best to wean him onto it. Much love for the pod. Dempster, back at you, brother. Love you, man. There's a dog barking outside. Yeah, I mean, it would be very me to do that, to be like, listen, let's just fucking, a PG tip once a day is going to be fine. No, not yet, but listen, at the nearest opportunity, it's going to happen. There's going to be a tea party. No, he's seen his daddy drinking a lot of tea as well. That will be his earliest memories of, Daddy, remember you used to drink 98 cups of tea and just look at me and go like, is everything all right? Yeah, I would love this. I would love to sneak in some tea, but probably not. I feel like it might not be the right thing to do, but I would like to. He will be a tea drinker. I don't, he can be anything he wants as long as he's happy. He can. I will support him in his own decisions, no matter what. But if he does not drink tea, we got a problem. We got a major problem. Although, as I mentioned, he's a big baby. He's already bigger than me. So at that point, he probably would just be able to straight up knock me out. So he can't literally do whatever he wants. I'm sorry, son, if you're watching this. I'm sorry. Matt Law says, now that you're Papa Money Toad, if Dave Elliott is bestowed as Godfather, will he be forced to get a tattoo in his leg? Hope your partner and the baby are doing well. They are, Matt. Thanks. Yeah, because I got the tattoo for Dave's daughter Holly being born of the Todd father. He wouldn't do it. He wouldn't do it. And that's not me saying it to him like I'm trying to psych him out. And he'll go, fuck, I will do it. I would prefer instead if he just like shaved his eyebrows off as a mark of respect. I think that would be nice. But I don't even know, dude. Are we doing a Godfathers? I don't know why I'm asking the sippers. I mean, I shouldn't ask the sippers that kind of thing. Like, reply to me and let me know, do we do godparents? I don't know what the crack is. I literally, I don't know what the crack is. I'm just worried about this guy's next feed. That's it. We just burp him and then we'll move on to the next thing. Patrick Quinn, big friend of the pod, big sipper, says, congratulations on the birth of your little sipper. The money spawn. Big fan. Disrespectful, but big fan of that. Are you able to sum up the emotions you had when you held him for the first time? Do you look younger than your baby? Really delighted to see the post. A very lucky and blessed child, a father with a bank balance in McGoldrick and the skills of Cruisy. Patrick, unfortunately, it's the other way about. It's the other way about, but man, I appreciate the question. I appreciate you. Holding him for the first time was great until he left the present all over my lap minutes after being born. So it was good up until then, and then I was offended, and then at that point I just went home. But it was great. Do I look younger than the baby? Yes, because he is massive. And whenever I went in, whenever another midwife came on shift, she like scooped me up and tried to put me on his lap and said, "Do you want skin to skin?" And he was like, "No." He goes, "No, I'm the." He goes, "I'm the wee baby," and she went, "Oh right," and she had the switches right. That's not funny. Siobhan McAdam says, how's it going? Siobhan's fucking great. I'm sweating because I'm warm and I don't know how long I've been up here for, so I'm going to kind of wrap this up and hope everyone's okay with a slightly shorter pod this week. And if they're not, I don't really care. Matthew Mernon says, congrats on the arrival. What 90s pop songs will you be repurposing as lullabies for the next few years? That's a great shout. Yeah, I think I am going to have to like change it up. I think he knows his dad is one of the best DJs in Europe because of the rave lockdown and stuff like that. But I don't know. I think the Venga bus is coming. Is fun because it's like the wheels on the bus go round and round, but way better. So maybe something like that. Luke Atkinson says, would you take this deal? You get £1 million right now, but for the rest of your life, this slug is slowly following you wherever you go. If it touches you, you die. No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't like to do that because I don't like slugs. and I've already got enough money. Colin Hines says, apart from tea, do you have any other favourite non-alcoholic drinks? I'm partial to a wee glass of OJ. Congrats on becoming a dad. A bit OJ Simpson. I like it. Thank you on the dad thing. Yeah, I like water. I like a little bit of coffee. And I like, what do you call innocent drinks? Is that what it is? Apple and mango, I think, or passion fruit or something. No, I like one of them. And I used to drink Dr. Pepper a lot whenever I was a teenager, and then I stopped because I thought I was going to die if I drank more of it. Dawson Cleland, could you apologise to my mate Johnny Dempster? You were pure sly to him on last week's listeners' questions. Well, I've been nice to him this week, and now that I've seen that, I didn't realise I was sly to him last week, so I feel like I've been dead on this week, so I don't need to apologise. And I'm a father, and I will be apologising to whoever I want, and I'll be speaking to you like a father, and I'll be coming around your door to speak to your mother and father. So how about that? Sorry, guys, got a bit carried away there. Dawson, thanks for the question. I love your creek. That sounds weird, but I'm talking about Dawson's Creek. Guys, we had a couple of emails from Patreons that I want to read out. Scott says, would it be possible to have a wee shout out for Davy McClure, who's turning 21 on Wednesday on next week's podcast? Then he gets in one of his own questions. He goes, did you ever go to or play at the Milk Cup? I went to the Milk Cup. I certainly did not play at it because I still am absolutely brutal at football in reality. But I've been to it to watch, and it's pretty cool. Would it be possible to have a wee shout out for Davy McClure, who's turned 21? Yeah, absolutely. But Davy McClure does not sound like a 21-year-old guy. He sounds like a 57-year-old guy being called Davy McClure. Davy McClure sounds like a guy who already has his own taxi. Like Davy McClure, number one taxi driver name. But shout out to you, brother. Hope you have a really good time and enjoy yourself. Nathan Hernberg says, really enjoyed the podcast. We listened to them with headphones at sea on our fishing boat based out of Kilkeel. Really good fun. Sweet, man. Give me some fish. I love fish. I'm a big seafood guy. Hook me up with some fish, man, but don't have all the guts. Clean it, catch it, gut it out and give me it, will you? I actually do like fish. And I like that you listen to it out at sea. Do you have any advice for someone who's considering starting their own podcast but doesn't have any equipment, merely an iPhone and the required app? Can it be done? Thank you, Nathan. Fucking right, it can be done. For sure. It would be, you can like go on Amazon, get yourself a USB mic, and if you email me, well, I don't have the strength to email you back. But hopefully you hear and see this. Go on Amazon, get a decent USB mic, do a bit of research. You'll be able to get one for like 20 quid. Get the USB mic, plug it into the laptop, and you're good to go. 1,000% you can do it. YouTube tutorials, how to start a podcast, basic equipment, something like that. Of course you can do it, and let me know how you get on, and I'll give it a plug on this. How about that? Good luck and keep catching those fish. Join Para says, Shane, want to say a huge thank you for the podcast. They're excellent and very funny. Appreciate it. They definitely brighten up lockdown. Huge fan of the TripAdvisor feature, and now my ambition is to find Troy the bus driver. Shout out to Troy the bus driver on the rave bus. 3 questions. It's a lot to ask for, but okay. Would the money toad ever appear on a comedy show like Live at the Apollo? Some local comedians seem to turn their noses up towards the likes of Peter Kay and Michael McIntyre and push the likes of Bill Burr. Why is this? Is there snobbery in comedy? Would I appear at Live at the Apollo? Yes. I can't say like I regularly watch it. I definitely used to, but I've just sort of fallen out of the way with it. And I think UK comedy and American comedy are 2 very different styles. I prefer American comedy like Bill Burr and other comedians, but I love Peter Kay and I think Michael McIntyre's funny, but I wouldn't be going to see him, if you know what I mean, I've never been to see him, but I can appreciate he's funny. Yes, there is snobbery in comedy. I'm guilty of it. We're all guilty of it in some way, but funny's funny. So anyone like Michael McIntyre, Mrs. Brown's Boys, whatever else, if people are loving it, then it's really funny. It just might not be to my taste or another comedian's taste. Local comedians turn their nose up to like Peter Kay and Michael McIntyre. They do, but they would literally do anything to like support them on a big tour date. You know, I would love to go support Peter Kay or Michael McIntyre on a big tour date. We all would, but people act like they wouldn't. But then if they were offered it, they would jump at it, and that's kind of cringe. But we all do snobbery in some way. What is a sexier podcast, Boytown or Tea with Me? Is it Sly? Papa Bear won't come on Tea with Me. He will. He has been asked, but he's playing hard to get, the big cheeky scamp. And he's been giving me some good parenting advice, so I can't really be too sly to him. Boytown is sexier, but Tea with Me is cuter. That's what I would say. But listen to both. Number 3, why can't Aaron Butler say the words vulnerable or now correctly? Because He gets so paranoid about it. Listen, we are going to do a thing like the King's Speech, and I'm going to correct all the words he can't say, and he's going to go from now to now, and it's going to be a lovely moment. No, I love that guy, and get off his back, please, because he has nice jackets. Folks, I'm going to wrap up the podcast right here. I'm going to plug once more, patreon.com/tea with me podcast. It's worth it. I think it's a real good deal. Check it out. Have a look. See what you think. Also, if you want to rate and review the podcast on the likes of Apple Podcasts, that'll be great. We'd really appreciate that. Tell your friends. Get it up on Instagram, whatever. I'll share that out. That goes a long way. So thank you very much once again. Gonna love yous and leave yous. Going back to the baby for some cuddles. I feel like it's been a nice episode. I hope you enjoyed it. And the episodes will be back to more normality pretty soon. Sip, sip. Thanks a lot for all the love.